they want for their property if they just wait long enough. And honestly, in many cases, they're absolutely right. They're going to
Yep.
get what they're looking for if they stay long enough. So, you know, you really can't blame them. You know, that's the market you're in. You know, when I'm selling, I'm doing the same thing. You know, I'm waiting for the price. I know that I can get the price that I'm looking for. So, you know, I'm basically one of them. Now, in the niche that you're actually working on, there's always the issue. What I know about subject twos, and I'm starting to, gain some traction in that arena. But subject two is predicated primarily on the motivation.
Yeah.
It's primarily based on the motivation of the seller. They have got to. I've had good fortune only when they are at the point at which they see that light from that train coming down the track.
Yeah, there's no other option.
Yeah. There's no other option. Other than that, subject to becomes, it becomes a little bit difficult, to be quite honest with you. It can be kind of hard.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, think about it. Somebody's got the back against the wall. They can't afford to sell it with a broker because they're going to have to go out of pocket, or they might be slightly underwater. And they if you give them a couple $1,000s for moving money and take over their mortgage, it could be a win-win. But getting them to understand that and getting them to trust you to take over the mortgage payments, that's a tall order too.
That's also a tall order. Yeah. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I've had that same challenge. Subject twos, I have a go-to list of people who are in a situation, and those are the only ones that are receptive to it. Well, I say the only ones. I'm actually looking at a deal with one of my JV partners, and we're looking at a $500,000 house in Alabama. Picture that. So that caught me off guard right away, right? A $500,000 house in Alabama.
That's got to be like the governor's mansion.
Yeah, it's a bad little pad, and initially it was custom built for a young lady. So check out this story. This story was tragic. So a gentleman got his daughter in the car. The daughter is about 3 years old, or just short of 3 years old. Back when, this is about 23 years ago, and if you remember, there was a big, issue with car seats in terms of the quality and the safety of them.
Recall. Something
happened. I didn't really get the story. I didn't want to really go into and relive the memories of what happened in terms of the accident or anything like that. But long story short is that the baby got paralyzed. So this young lady has been paralyzed since she was 3. But out of it came a lot of the changes that have since taken place as it relates to the child safety seats. In fact, the company who manufactured the seat at that time ended up having to go out of business.
Wow.
So they, with some of those resources, they were able to build this custom home, and they have actually just finished building a second custom home that's, more accommodating for a grown person, having all of the, the things that they need in terms of what they're doing. The reason I bring that story up is because that they're actually considering allowing me to do a subject to on their property and carry back the financing and allow themselves to save some capital gains and some other things as far as that goes. So that's one of the rare instances where it's not a tied to the train track situation that allows me to actually negotiate a subject to deal.
Right. Special circumstance. Yeah.
I've done 90 of them.
90?
Yeah, 90.
Wow. You got to be like a master at this thing, man. Wow.
So if you have any questions about subject to, I've done 90 of them, at least 90, maybe less than 100, but 90, between 90 and 100.
Where are you out of, Mark?
I'm in Minneapolis.
Okay. Wow.
Hey, Mark Hoffman, how are you?
I'm great. Good to see you, buddy.
Likewise. Hey, did I disappear there for a minute because I went dark and it looks to be having trouble connecting. So you guys bear with me. I'm trying to
Sure.
get connected to the live stream. And it doesn't seem to want to connect for whatever reason. Bear with me.
So Mark, how did you wind up doing 90 subject twos? How long you been doing this for?
22 years.
Okay, you got some experience. Okay, yeah.
I started marketing to FHA, VA, and non-owner occupieds that had those loans. The benefit of those loans is they get in light. VA, USDA also, USDA loans, VA loans, and FHA, they get in light. VA loans and USDA are no money down. So they're in light. So they can buy these houses, for no money down. They don't have a lot of skin in the game. A lot of the VA specifics are they're moving every 2-3 years if they're military, if they're active military. And these guys don't have a choice on whether they move or not. So there's a sort of underlying motivation from a military family. They've got orders. They don't want to, especially if it's a man, if it's the guy that's the active. There's a little bit of ego there. They don't want their wives to sit back in their. They want to move their whole family. They don't want their wife. They don't want to leave their wife behind. They don't want to leave their family behind. They want their whole unit to move with them, and they got to be in wherever, Alabama, wherever they're going to be stationed. Every 3 years they move. And so if they buy a house and they need to move and the economy is either flat or downward, they don't have much equity. They can't afford to hire a real estate agent. And you can show them that it costs 10%, pretty easy to sell a house, right?
Yeah,
6% commission, 3% holding costs, 1% holding costs, 1% whatever, negotiating. So you could show them that they and I love military people. I have and I think every American has a debt of gratitude to anyone that's ever served. But anyway, so I just go in there with that spirit of service and I tell them, look, I can help you save your credit. I can help. What I'll do is I'll find a buyer, I'll occupy this house. We'll put them in here for 2 to 3 years and they'll buy it. They'll cash us out. And it's worked out. I got a good track record now.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. That's very smart. I have a big Patrick's Air Force Base is right up the road from us, about 20 minutes from here. It's a big Air Force base. In fact, it's in one of the top 3 candidates for the new Space Force that Trump started.
Yeah, what state is that in, Patrick?
I'm sorry, Florida. Yeah.
Florida. Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm hoping it's in Colorado Springs because I own a bunch of real estate in Colorado Springs, and that would make much more sense for the Space Force to be there because that's where Peterson Air Force Base is. And
then there's NORAD
NORAD. Yeah. So I'm hoping because I got a bunch of real estate there. The other good resource is militarybyowner.com. It's kind of an unknown website that military people are trying to sell their. So if you're near an Air Force base or any type of base, militarybyowner.com is a pretty good resource because these guys, if they don't have much equity, they're going to go try to do for sale by owner, and oftentimes they're furnished. And so these would be great for short-term rental. So I own 5 Airbnbs. It's a pretty good, I don't like to put all my eggs in any one basket. I like to be very diverse, but Airbnb has been a pretty good thing for the last few years. So that's another advantage because then you can pay a higher. One of the problems with subject to is oftentimes the payment, you're stuck with a payment that's higher maybe than what you could rent it for. But if it's furnished and you're doing Airbnb, that's a different model, right? You get a little bit of more income, typically more income.
Yeah. My son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter live in Colorado Springs.
Cool.
Yeah. They love it out there. We've been out there a number of times. It's a great area.
Yeah, it's a good town.
That's where the academy is, right?
That's where the academy is. Yep.
Yeah, I'm an Air Force guy.
Okay. Are you really?
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you for your service. So
Mark, do you do these virtually mainly?
Pardon me, I'm so sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't interrupt you. Do you do these virtually, your sub twos mainly, or the Minneapolis area, or where?
So I spend 9 months out of the year in Minneapolis, and I try to avoid January, February, and March.
Why is that? Kidding.
Why is that?
I don't get it. That's crazy.
September, I'm in Colorado as well for elk season. So I do. I only buy in Minnesota. I have a couple houses in Colorado Springs just to stay in and just to waste some time with. The taxes are better in Colorado Springs. I do like Colorado, but I miss the water. So that's why I'm here in Minnesota. I grew up in Minnesota, so that's why I focus on Minnesota. So I do everything virtually now because of COVID. So people are, you know, it's advantageous, right? It's much more advantageous to do stuff virtually.
Sure.
But people are more
Yeah, and people are more receptive than they have.
They're
than
more
they have ever
receptive
been,
now.
'cause
Yeah.
everybody's kind of in the same boat. So now
Yeah.
some of the concerns that they had previously are now gone because they're forced to, you know, react to the environment.
That's right.
Right.
Um,
You're right. It's like the norm now. Yeah.
yeah, it's the norm, which is good for us because it's now kind of changed the model to our advantage, and we learn how to actually navigate these things and start to, you know, develop a presence and have some credibility items out there that sort of enhance our position with people. You know, we're starting to see some real good results. So Mark, you've been in this game for 22 years.
That's right. Yeah. 98.
Yes,
I started-
my man. So how did you deal with 2008? How did it affect you?
In 2008, I had 8 employees, and I was holding on to 50 houses, and we were doing about 15 to 20 deals a year. We were doing pretty well, good clip. And then I was holding on to 50 houses in September when Bear Stearns collapsed. And I let go of all my employees, and I lost 6 houses, and I was able to, you know, keep the rest. 42 sold. I mean, I think I still have maybe 6, and I sold the rest. I was able to sell the rest over time, but I did lose 6.
Oh, okay, but you survived it though. You
Yeah.
seem to have.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
survived.
figured it
It was like more of like a, you know, do whatever you can. We did some crazy stuff that's probably illegal that, you know, I can talk about. We just did stuff to survive. You know, for instance, there's a redemption period in Minnesota, 6-month redemption.
Yeah.
And so we would buy stuff. We would, once the house would go to sale, we would find out what was vacant. So this house is going to be vacant for 6 months.
Yeah.
And we would go contact the seller, and we would get the deed for $100, and then we'd put a tenant in there for $500 a month or $600 a month. So we'd have basically a free house for 6 months. And we would and then we would give the occupant a lease for a 2-year lease, and they could actually show that to the foreclosing bank, and they could stay there for two years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so then they didn't have to pay. I mean, eventually they probably started to have to pay the rent. I mean, the bank. But anyway, that's the illegal thing. I don't know if that's illegal or not. I mean, it's who's the fiduciary responsibility? It's really the seller. So anyway,
Yeah.
we were basically taking a subject to. We were buying it subject to. We were getting the deed, and we were putting an occupant in there. We weren't making any payments. So that's one of the ways we were able to survive through that period of time.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So right now, based on the way you just described it, so you do your subject twos, and then you put a lease option into your subject twos, because you mentioned something about them not paying enough to cover the note. Is that something that happens often? Because you know, I myself, I would avoid negotiating a situation where the note wouldn't be able to be covered by the prevailing rental rates in the area. So can you maybe speak a little bit on that? How did that come about, or was that just
There's
where
a couple
you
solutions. There's a couple solutions to that. Sometimes the seller will pay me per month, a couple $100 per month to make up the difference.
Okay.
And one of the things you were talking about earlier, Victor, was motivation. So yeah, the seller, you know, you just got to think about, well, what's more important to you, saving your credit, or you know, trying to, you know, get some money out of this house. You know, you're going to lose it. You can't afford it, or whatever the case might be. And so the seller might offset or compensate me a couple $100. Or, you know, Airbnb is new, relatively speaking. So that's another way that you could consider occupying the house. You know, the other thing you could do is get an option, buy it subject to for an option. And if I can't find a buyer for this price, then you get the house back. You know, rarely do I go negative, but I mean, now that I say that, I do have a house that I've been carrying since, I don't know, 2008. that's a negative $200 a month that I still have. But
Uh-huh.
on the flip side, I'm getting massive debt reduction. I'm getting about $600 a month debt reduction on that.
Yeah.
So
And appreciation.
yeah, and appreciation. We try not to bank on that.
Yeah.
But it has appreciated. The problem is I filled it with a contract buyer back in 2009. And so I don't really get that much appreciation. I sold it to them on a 40-year AM.
Gotcha.
And mine was a 30-year AM. So you have to sort of like do the math on those curves to see.
Right.
And I did. She gave me a bunch down, 20 grand down, caught up the back payments. I was going to probably face another lawsuit on that deal because I was behind.
Okay.
Couldn't pay it. But then I
Yeah.
finally, at like the last minute, found a buyer. She gave me 20 grand down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be able to absorb $200 negative cash flow per month. You know, and I've had it since I signed that up in 2000. I mean, when I had employees, I remember signing that up because we met them at the office. It was back in 2007.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't wait to get rid of it. Like, I don't like feeding a property, but again, it's like a forced savings account. I mean, I owe 120 and I think the buyer owes me 150.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a back end.
Hey,
Yeah.
so if you don't mind, Mark, and I didn't mean to put you on the spot and everything, but you know, we always, I think the whole group likes to benefit. A lot of us are very new to the game. And so we obviously like to benefit from, you know, experienced investors that are in the room and kind of do it. And don't worry, you guys, we will get to the, you know, to the role play and stuff, but
That's why I'm here.
yeah, exactly. So let me ask you, what does your business structure look like today under the new environment, doing the type of volume that you're doing that, you know, maybe we can, you know, glean something from?
So when you say business structure, do you mean like my entity structure?
Not in your entity structure, but you know, you know, there's you. Do you have virtual assistants? How many employees do you have? Direct employees now that are, you know, local employees. You know, do you have a acquisitions and dispositions manager team? And what does that look like for you now?
Okay, good question. I had a curve. In 2007 was probably the height of how many employees I had, which was 8.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
I realized that, you know, more volume didn't necessarily equate to more money in my pocket. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep.
Yeah.
And so, and you know, all of a sudden there's other obligations, tax, payroll obligations, payroll taxes, just IRS issues. So I just realized that I was not interested in actually having a big staff and having a big operation. So it's just me. I've got a full-time contractor that's on staff, and he just handles pretty much everything I need him to do. If he needs to go rough someone up, he'll do that. If he needs to go, you know, clean out a house, he'll arrange to do that. Right now, he's trying to finish a fix and flip for us.
Okay.
He's basically, you know, a very loyal, dedicated resource, and that's kind of what you need. You need some people that you trust, and that's the only person I have. So I do all the buying and selling myself, and I'll hire people if I need
Okay.
additional resources. But I'm only buying about 12 houses a year right now.
Yeah, you say only. There's people in the room right now that are like, oh my God, I'd do anything to be able to do 12 houses a year. Yeah. So
You know, I think it's like, you know, having a girlfriend or you know, getting a first date. I mean, it's the hardest one is the first one, and
Right.
then it gets easier after that. And so I could go out.
Oh, I think Mark got frozen there for
Yeah,
a second.
he froze up there.
Yeah. If you can.
I'm just curious
Yeah,
how he
it's
finds
gone.
houses.
Buy more, but I'm just not
Okay.
interested in, I guess, growing that much. I don't want staff. I think that's
Okay.
probably the issue. So
No.
buying
So you
about
don't-
10 to
So
12.
you don't even have a VA?
No, not right now. Not right
Not
now.
right now? Oh, okay. All right.
I'd like
cool.
one. You know, if I can see the reason to have one, then I would get one, but I don't need it right now because there's a bunch of money coming in. So I'm comfortable. I don't need to grow. You know,
Right,
I've got 20 rental properties. I've got 5 Airbnbs. I've got some short-term loans that I do, like hard money lending.
Where you're the bank?
Yeah, where I'm the bank. And it's not like I'm making $250,000. You know, I think 125 is approximately what I'm targeting a year personal income.
Good for
Okay.
you. So
Which is-
you're
which is-
buying properties now. Are you buying all subject twos, lease options, owner financing? Are you paying?
All
You're
the
actually
above.
out putting down cash. How are you doing your deals right now?
Yeah, all the above. Right now, I was trying to negotiate this deal this morning where it's a discounted property. I'll be buying it at a discount, but it's terms. The seller's carrying back financing. I need to come in with 30,000 down. And so I got a private investor that's going to put up the 30. And I still need to raise another 30 probably to do the renovation on it. But I think it's a 5-year deal with the seller at 3.5% interest. So pretty low interest rate. And he owns it free and clear. So I think I'm going to Airbnb it because it's on a lake.
Okay.
And it needs a major renovation in order to capture potential of, I don't know, 30-40% equity. But I'm not interested in doing that type of rehab. So I'm just going to put carpet and paint in there and cash flow it. My payment to the seller would be $650, and my payment to my private lender will be $208. So if I can rent it for $100 a month, or I mean $100 a night, which I should be able to because it's on a lake, it'll cash flow pretty well. And I'll keep it for 4 or 5 years because Lakeshore, hard to find, big in demand. It needs to pop the roof. I don't want to pop the roof on it. I just that's too big of a job for me that I want to handle.
Mark,
So,
real quick on so your Airbnb, how do you do the maintenance? Like, do you have a cleaner that comes out to the lake then and just clean it every night? How do you handle that?
Yep, they're all in different
right.
markets.
So
they're all in different markets. So you need to have basically a team in each market. And I have the cleaner is the hardest one to find.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because it's not a typical cleaning company. Typical cleaning companies don't want to work on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving Day or New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. Or Sundays. They want to work on Tuesday at 5 p.m. That's their typical. So you got to find a cleaning company. So I just start with Google Airbnb cleaners in Boston or wherever.
Okay, so you just target Airbnb cleaners. Niche. Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes there's forums that you can find in your area for short-term rental forum. Airbnbforum.com is one for sure. That's a nationwide, but you might be able to find someone in your area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
the toughest one to find.
Bet them virtually, Mark. Your cleaner.
Yeah. Yep.
Another thing that can you guys hear me?
Okay.
Hey, Mark, I have a question.
Hold on, there was a question from a woman. I was listening.
Hi. Another thing that I wanted to add.
Is this Sandra?
Yes, Sandra.
You know it.
Hey, Sandra, how you doing, sweetie? Hey, is there any way you can turn up your mic a little bit? It's a little bit
there it is.
muted.
That's better right now, right?
Yeah.
A little bit, but I think we can hear you enough to hear your question.
Yeah, I was at 30-something%. Now I'm at 88% in my audio.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So another thing that I wanted to add on top of what Mark is saying is that there, especially right now, I have a background in the hotel industry, and that's the industry that's been really hit hard right now with COVID.
Yeah.
Especially when the housekeepers.
Yeah.
So there are housekeepers that are starving across the nation. So I think something like cleaning for an Airbnb, there are so many places you can find that. You can even go on Craigslist and post, because I don't know if you guys are aware, but at the end of this month, actually not even at the end of this month, and I think in like one more week, there's no more of unemployment expires nationally.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
Yeah, that's real, because I'm on unemployment because I was actually working at a hotel, but I was working in a meeting and banquets department, and even though some of the hotels have come back and valet is back, my department is completely shattered, and so are the housekeeping department. So you should have no problem. I don't think finding, you know what I mean, people who are they're really hungry
Yeah, that's
terms
a
of
good point. You know, I've thought it's such a problem with the industry. I've thought so much about actually creating an app like Uber for cleaners. So you
Oh,
can
wow.
set
Yeah,
who wants to bid on this job every single day. You
Yeah.
know, there's problems with that. I've thought a lot about it because it's such a problem in various cities to find the type of cleaner that we're looking for. Sandra's a good point, though. You know, things change, the industry changes, so you know it's a good time to find those right now, and you could hire someone and just keep them comfortable. Because we
especially
have
in Georgia. I'm in Georgia, and at the place in Georgia, it relies on hospitality from outside of the state. It's a state that unfortunately has a huge unemployment rate, but it's a state where it relies on, it's built on the hospitality industry. So there's so many hotels down here, so many restaurants down here, and that's 90% of the people in the state work in those industries.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's exactly right. And anything that we can do as investors, one of the things, hey, Jose, give me 1 second, I'll get right to you, okay? One of the things that we get to do as investors, and a lot of people don't realize the value that investors bring to the marketplace. And sometimes you guys, you have to recognize exactly what your value is out there. I mean, we rehab communities, we increase the value of real estate. We do it for not just the properties that we actually affect directly, where the houses we buy and sell, but also all of the houses that's surrounding it. I see some of the rehabs and stuff in my area, and it changes the area. Now, there's a downside to that, obviously, because we're dealing with a cost factor now that's raising prices across the board, and everything. But it doesn't seem to have affected the movement, because right now the real estate market is really robust. I don't know, how long it's going to be shored up like this, but it doesn't look like there's going to be an end to it anytime soon. So, right now, you'll probably find it a little bit difficult to do some of your deals, because there is so much optimism in the marketplace, in the seller community, where they feel like they can get whatever they want, especially if they wait long enough. So you'll experience that, and you may have to adjust your marketing and your target accordingly. But just keep sharpening your blade, keep getting your skill set up, keep working on your ability to do this, to play this game, and the market will turn in our favor. And if you're in position to benefit from it, it's going to be a windfall for all of us. So acknowledge all of you guys for just showing up constantly, showing out, and keep working on your skill set. So that's my speech for the day. But I'm sure you guys can all sort of get in line with that one. Jose, you had a question for us? Jose Ayala, you're on mute, my friend. Unmute yourself.
No, I just did. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was a little late. I'm sorry. This is the second time I've attended your meeting.
And don't let it happen again.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Last week I was looking all over the place, and then they told me it was canceled. So
yeah, we took a day off for to put some family time with Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So do you have a question for us, or you
No, not at all.
Okay, well, thank you for being here, and welcome. You're always a breath of fresh air, and appreciate all your participation and your input. That goes for everybody on the call. Really appreciate you guys showing up. So the purpose of this, before I go there, did anybody have any other questions or anything that they wanted to put out there real quick? Herbacio, what's up, my friend? How are you?
Doing good, Victor. How about yourself?
I'm great, man.
Cool. I did have a question for Mark.
Okay.
My question is, and I probably know the answer, but regardless, would like to ask you, 5 years from now, what's your plan with the house, the one on the lake, as your terms come to an end?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so I'm buying it for $225 on terms, and I think it's worth $400. If we pop the top. So in order to get there, that's going to take 60 grand in work. And so I think I could sell it today for a little bit more than I'm buying it for. And so I think what I'm going to do is just cash flow it. And then 5 years from now, sell it to a rehabber, sell it to a contractor. If the market's down, then I'll probably refinance and pay the seller off, because he wants 30 grand down. So I can't just give him the house back, right? So I have an obligation. So I'll probably refinance, or I'll do the work at that time. I'll have to evaluate 4 years from a year away from the end of the contract and then figure that out. But that's the plan. The plan is just to put lipstick on that pig, cash flow it, put like less than 5,000-6,000 into it for now, and then cash flow it as much as I can. Try to keep the parties down so it doesn't get destroyed and my neighbors don't get pissed off. That's a problem with the Airbnbs. So you just try to do,
especially a lake Airbnb. That's a party.
Yeah, and it's nice because in Minnesota, people use the lakes in the winter for ice fishing, and it's good access. You can get in there. So I'm gonna just, I just have to have good relationships with the neighbors. That's the key.
So,
Wait,
okay.
But you just said ice fishing?
Yeah, you can Google that. Yeah,
ice fishing.
Yeah, you drive a truck across the water, and then you drill a hole about like 10-inch hole with a big drill, and then you fish through the ice.
Wow. Yeah.
Hey, Mark,
It's too cold. That's too cold for me. Herbacia, you want to finish your question?
Yeah. Obviously, right. Airbnb, like you said, it's been good in the last, somewhat, 3-5 years. What if something happens in that industry? Have you thought about that? Have you considered what a regular lease would bring you on that property?
It's a good question. Something did happen to that industry this year with COVID. I mean, and I had it was a black swan event, right? COVID was a black swan event. Everyone understands that, appreciates that. So I think the worst thing that could happen with that particular risk is a municipality issue. If the municipality comes in with laws, because that's another risk with Airbnbs. So if they outlaw Airbnbs in that area, or if they say, whatever, let's just say Airbnb is not an option. A regular lease, the seller had it leased for $1,200 a month, pretty low. He said it was low, and I agree. Lakeshore, it should probably rent for $1,500, so about double what my payment is. But then there's taxes. I mean, my payment's interest only, so factor that in. It would be an okay deal rental wise. I just have to reevaluate.
How did you get the seller to agree to 600 when he was collecting 200 before? Is it because you're also giving him the 30 grand? That obviously helps.
Yeah. So he was stuck on his price. So this is like a phrase. I'm going to give you a negotiating phrase. So he was stuck on his price, and I said, Mr. Seller, your price, my terms. You can have whatever price you want as long as you give terms that are acceptable to me. So your price, my terms. He was stuck on his price. He wanted 225. And I thought it was just a tad high, but with terms, I can do it. So your price, my terms.
Yeah, I like that.
And in that particular deal, if you don't mind sharing, what terms did you end up offering them?
Well, I was hoping to get 0%, but
Okay.
he was
You didn't go
savvy,
for it?
and so he's like, well, what interest rate is that? And so eventually we just, I figured out a payment that I was comfortable with, and we took the price and the payment, and then we backed into an interest rate, and it was 4% or 3.5% or something like that.
Okay, so it's still relatively competitive in the marketplace.
Is it interest only?
Yeah,
The
you said it
payment?
was interest only.
It's on interest only.
Very, very, very cool. Yeah, so that phrase leads us into the next phase of our call today, where we like to do this so that we can practice our phone skills, as most of you guys either follow Claude Diamond, who teaches and created and, has, made the gut system, right now, probably the preeminent sales method that's being taught as far as the real estate space is concerned, because it works really well in our environment. And also either that or you're aligned with Justin Chamness, who is a advocate of the system, who teaches the system. I'm part of both of those groups, and that's why I host these on Wednesdays, to not only get my game up, but to allow us to have opportunities like this. Thank you, Mark, so much for bringing your experience and your knowledge and allowing us to kind of glean some information, because a lot of people on the call are brand new to the game, and are really benefiting from seeing what experienced investors, somebody with 22 years, has to say about how to structure a deal, how to talk to a seller, how to put these things together to our advantage, type of thing. So really appreciate you. I'm gonna do a quick roll call real quick just to welcome everybody. Gervasio, obviously you're here. iPhone guest, that would be my man Philip Kimes.
What?
Nathan Piles, Jason Richter, Jose Ayala, Sandra Cayulo. Somebody else is on the Galaxy A10e. I don't know who that is, but welcome. George, my man, Horace Cyrus, Jeffrey Engelbrecht, Jimmy Jean, welcome, my friend. John Alexander's here, Johnny Belial, Mark Hoffman, obviously, thank you for all your great input today. Mark Richardson, Max Ibar, Moises Blandon, Rick, my man Rick is here. Steve Mavis, Steve, my man. Vernon DeShields, and Wei Ling Chang. All right, thank you guys so much for being here. Now, I want to just share my screen real quick, just to kind of, and I know most of you guys have done this before, but I just kind of like to go through a little bit of the methodology associated with what it is that we do. I'm looking for my chart right now that I definitely had on here and is now missing.
That's Adele, wasn't it?
What's that now? What you say, Philip?
I said, it's Adele, isn't it?
I'm gonna change my computer so you can't talk. You can't say that again. I'm gonna still
talk.
Hey, Victor, can I throw something
who's that,
out?
Jose?
Yeah, can I throw something out real quick while you're
you can.
finding your slide? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to be vulnerable here to the group, in that I consider myself a new person.
Okay.
A new person because I'm still having problems actually pulling the trigger in starting to call people. I'm stuck on, where I'm making the problem probably in my head bigger than it should be. And, having the CRM ready and all of these other things. I'm working with Joe McCall and of course, Claude Diamond. But if you don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing minutia that's not picking up the phone, what do you recommend to a newbie like me to do that would be cost effective, that I don't have to go out and spend a whole lot of money, just to pick up the phone to get my 5 calls in and my 3 deals? In other words, do you guys just go right to Zillow, pick some numbers and start calling randomly? How do you prepare mentally to start that conversation? I know that scripts is a dirty word, but you really have to have it set in your mind of being very casual in talking to people. I have basically a cash flow lead tracker sheet that I have here that I'm going to fill out as I make my calls. Is that what you would recommend for somebody starting off, just so that you can jump in the water, so to speak? Any recommendations? I'm open. My ears are open.
Absolutely. That's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. So the first thing that I would do starting off is I would do everything that I could do for free. If you want something that works fantastic, that allows you to store all of your information, to have access to it on all of your systems, to be able to take a phone call someplace remote and still be able to have your information, I recommend that you use Trello.
Trello, okay.
Trello, are you familiar?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, so what that is it's a card-based system that's online, and as part of the system, you can create your workflow. You can put in all of your contracts, all of your agreements, anything that you have, any of your scripts. And when I say scripts, I just mean, you know, the things that you use as prompts in order to have your conversations flow. The bottom line to conversations is simply have them. So mentally, just put in your mind that I want to get to 500 conversations. Well, let's even make it shorter than that. Let's say I want to get to 100 conversations as quickly as I possibly can, with without any particular attachment to the outcome of those conversations.
Okay.
Okay. So in other words, you know, Jose, you're on here all the time. You're a very, you know, charming guy. You have the ability to connect with people. You obviously care about, you know, what you're doing and about the people you're doing it with. Let that be your lead in. Let that be where you stand as far as your strength, right? We're going in here to see if we can solve problems for people, right? That's what we're doing. We're providing, and once we find a problem that we can solve, it results in us having an opportunity to actually make some money off of the deal.
Right.
So if you're calling people and your mindset is, look, you know, if you have a situation, I'd like to ask you a few questions. You ask me a few questions, and if there's a match, you know, perhaps we can do some business today.
Right.
Right. And that's it, with no attachment. Right.
Okay.
And if you remove the fact that you are, you know, in here trying to pound a deal and you have to get a deal today, if you're in desperation mode, it comes across in your conversations with people. Claude has an absolutely brilliant strategy and training centered around being the reluctant buyer.
Right.
And it's absolutely brilliant, you know. So every time somebody tells you why should I, maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You know,
I listen to all of that, but it's like, okay, I've got to practice these techniques and get them under my belt before I pick up the phone. And that's wrong, because the thing is, you got to just jump in the water. And
okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this simple question. Why are you doing this?
Well, hopefully to make some profit out of it, but also to help people.
Okay, so do you understand that that is not enough of a, like, maybe you haven't thought about your why enough?
Okay.
Because that's sort of a, you know, part of your personality. You're going to do that anyway, right? You're going to help people if you can. If you see somebody struggling on the street, my guess is you're going to go help them.
Correct.
That's who you are, right? But exactly. I don't know if that's enough of a motivation. So when I say, what is your why? There is a point somewhere in the future.
Well, my why is basically I want to be able to produce income so that I can get away from my job. I want to be able to sustain myself enough with enough cash flow to where I can then survive on my own and schedule my whole life instead of being revolving around a job. I'll have the flexibility to be able to enjoy more of life with my family.
What is that number?
Well, that number could be about 10 to 15,000 a month.
Okay.
So I got a lot of work to do.
Well, yes and no. You know, $10,000 to $15,000 a month in this game is not that far out of reach. That's pretty easy. It's not that difficult. Okay. So, and the reason I'm asking you these questions is because if you imagine and I paint this picture, you're on one side of quicksand, a pool of quicksand. You're on the other side, right? And there's something on the other side of that pool of quicksand that you want, that you absolutely have to have, like it is in your system. Like right now, it sounds like I would like to. And I don't know if I would like to will push you through what you need to do. So in other words, imagine now there's a rope, right? There's a rope. Now you have this conversation and you're walking towards the quicksand. What's happening to the rope? It's
Right.
collapsing, right? It's collapsing. So now you're in the quicksand. The rope has collapsed. What happens to you?
I better grab it. I better grab it.
Even if you grab it, it's not gonna help you, right? You're just hanging on to the rope. Imagine that a real estate investor, the thing called real estate investor is that rope, right? Even if you're just doing it now, the rope is collapsing, you're still sinking.
Right.
The only thing now, imagine in your mind, I'm trying to make this a graphical picture, right? Now, imagine that on the other end of that rope, though, is your goal. Your absolutely must have, no doubt about it. This has got to get done. I want to get home with my family. I want to spend my time with my family. I'm going to spend my time with my family. I'm going to provide for them financially. I am going to remove the strain of having to work every single day, like a goal. Now imagine that that's what's holding the rope on the other end.
Right.
Now the rope is taut, it's tight. And when you start to slide into that quicksand, that rope is pulling and pulling and pulling. If you can visualize that, whatever that is on that other end has to be strong enough, and you have to have a big enough commitment to it that it can hold that rope and pull you through that quicksand.
Right.
Quicksand called, no, why are you calling me? You're the 10th person today. Do you even know what you're doing? I need, do you have business? All of the objections that come along with doing this game, right? So the answer to your question is, until you really get solid, that this is like, there's a saying, and I keep coming up with these anecdotes, you guys will bear with me, but there's a saying that when the Vikings would land on a shore and they were in a battle, how did the leaders of those battles, those invaders, how did they guarantee, or as close as they can, to guaranteeing a victory?
They would burn their ships.
They would burn their ships.
Mm-hmm.
Until you burn your ships,
right.
And it doesn't have to be an actual burn, it has to be mentally a burn.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have got to burn your ships.
So what you're saying is that I'm too comfortable, and I know that sometimes my income that I depend on right now distracts me from really going totally for it. Is what?
Yeah, because you're in an uncomfortable comfortable.
Right.
Right.
I don't want to consume all of your time. I'm just my
no. This is
if you want to talk offline on it, we could do that. But I want you to continue with your class.
No. This is an absolutely perfect conversation to have. You are not distracting from the conversation at all. You're actually bringing great value, because this is a conversation that many people are probably struggling with in terms of just picking up the phone and doing what's necessary.
Yeah, you're not the only one, Jose.
Yeah. You're absolutely not the only one, Jose. So I really, and I'm sure that a lot of the audience appreciates the fact that you brought this up like a conversation, because it is not a struggle that you're having on your own. It is a struggle that we have. And I've been wanting to actually have this conversation. This is a conversation I have with my one-on-one students, is until we establish that you absolutely have to do this, it is way too difficult for you to win.
Okay.
Like you look up a year and a half from now and you'll be in the same place, because you're a little comfortable right now. You got the income, so you've got to sort of create a mental game for yourself. Imagine that income wasn't there. Imagine that, all of a sudden, you didn't have the fallback that you have right now.
So Victor, I'm burning the boats April 2021. And what happens then is I retire. Finally retired. I did 28 years in the military.
Okay.
I worked another 15 years for the government as a defense contractor. Okay. And I'm finally saying goodbye at 66 and saying, hey, it's really good income, but I really want to have some time to do the things that I want to do on my own instead of being tied to the government. I want to be able to have get out and enjoy and grow and do something that I think I would love to do. And so that's when I'm burning my boats.
Okay, so consider this. You're not burning your boats on that date, they're burning your boats.
Right.
You have to burn your boats yourself mentally.
Right.
And you can burn your boats today.
Yeah.
You can burn you're a decision away from burning your boats, right?
Yeah.
And that's your decision, not theirs. So
No plan B, man.
whatever happens next year, you know,
Right.
that is not, you know, you can see that coming. That's not
Right.
really you doing it. It's going to occur whether you show up or not, right?
Right.
That's not a decision that you actively made to move yourself forward.
Right.
That
Well, I don't
decision is
know.
on you.
I'm drawing the line. My Social Security starts then, and I need to go out and do something else. I'm
Yeah.
not going to give them any more years, really.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And you know, get that in you like a burning desire. Once that becomes a burning desire, and you really start to understand that, you know what, I'm going to set myself up. You know, challenge yourself however you need to, you know, go back to when, you know, you used to get picked on in school or whatever, like whatever you need to do to put yourself in that space called, I will not fail
Right.
at this deal.
Thank you. Thank you.
All of a sudden, the phone calls, they're just part of the routine. They're just what you do. And here's what I anticipate happening with you. You start making enough phone calls, you're going to love it. Because you're going to have a chance to connect with people. You're going to have a chance to, you know, be the Jose that is, you know, able to actually help and provide value. You're going to start to look forward to being able to get on the line with somebody and actually improve their situation.
Right.
And yeah, you know that you're going to walk through a landmine. There's going to be some people that are not going to want to hear from you. Okay, that's not your audience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not your audience. And you're going to just keep moving until you find your audience, and then your audience becomes larger and larger. And pretty soon, you know, you're like, you know, Mark Hoffman, you know, where Mark is in such a situation, he's put in so much work over such a period of time till now he's able to decide the size of his business, and he chooses to operate his business in a way that suits him.
Right.
All of our dream.
Okay, so I want all you guys to kick me every once in a while.
We're gonna bust you upside your head.
Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Does anybody else have any input that like to has assisted them, anything that moved them to a point at which they, you know, decided that it was, you know, burn the ships?
No plan.
So you got
No plan B.
Nathan, was that you saying something?
I was saying no plan B, man. I got no
Yeah.
plan B.
Okay. Yeah, see?
burn the ships today, and understand by the time you retire, you should be already in the middle of the war.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because if you wait until April to burn the ships, then you're not even in the war anymore.
Yeah. Your goal for April should be having your business structure such that it can be now self-sustained and managed. That should be your goal for April, not your start date. But by April, you should have all your systems in place and have your business to as close to autopilot as you possibly can.
You gotta own plan A, man. You gotta own it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no plan B, Victor. Like I said, I was working in the hotel industry. I got laid off in April.
Uh-huh.
And I would have never thought in my wildest dreams that me having a full-time and a part-time job and having healthcare, that I would be in this situation.
Right.
And
Yeah, you thought for a minute there, you thought it was all good. You were on your way to.
it was good. And I worked in the part of the department of the hotel where it's just there's a lot of weddings that are happening here in the South instead of going to the Caribbean. So we were getting a lot of business beside the typical meetings, and we were getting a lot of business with weddings, and we're right by the river too.
Yeah.
So it's just what happened this year completely just I can't rely on anybody else but myself.
Right.
That's my
So,
plan A.
so,
There's no
so,
plan
and
B.
so you decided that you are going to put all your chips in on you.
Yeah, that's what I realized is,
Yeah.
you know, so that's the thing with me. There's no plan B.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this game, you know, while it's glamorized quite a bit, especially if you listen to enough gurus, it sounds like, oh my God, just buy a list and tomorrow you're going to have a deal. You know, I mean, they make it sound like it's just absolutely, you know, nirvana. It's nobody that's accomplished anything in life has had nirvana except for maybe, you know, maybe trust fund kids or something.
Right.
Everything else takes a whole lot of work. It's going to be some days of anguish. It's going to be some difficult days. Here's the opportunity that lies here, though. All of us are in the same boat, so we will all support each other in our journey. We all have something that we can learn from each other, and we all can gain strength from each other's struggles. We can all help hold each other up. So you're in the exact right place. You know, you're within communities of people that are, you know, marching down the same road. So you're going to, you know, just stay, commit. Everything else will start to fall into place, and be patient with yourself. Be patiently impatient. When I say be patient, I mean you have all the time in the world. I don't want you to get that idea, but don't beat yourself up whenever something doesn't go exactly as it's described in the manual, right? Like it often will not go like it says in the manual. Anyway, so thank you guys all for your input on that. I think that that's just such an incredible conversation. It definitely helps me, and I think that there's a lot of people on the line that have that question, that have not addressed it, and you know, need to engage in your why to such a degree that you really understand why you wake up every morning and go through this, you know, this fire walk that is real estate investing. So anyway, our whole process, this is a sheet that was put together by Justin Chamness, who does the Real Estate Wholesalers Club.com, and whom I work with. And it kind of sort of breaks down what it is that we're trying to accomplish on any particular phone call. Let me start with this section right here. And this is really important. When we first started, we were talking to Mark about subject twos. Okay, if I was to just focus on subject twos right here, and pretty much any deal that you go to work on, here's the most important part of that conversation. If a person is not a strong 8, 9, or 10, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. When I talk about that light coming down the track, they've literally got to be, you know, that cartoon character that's tied to the track, and that train is coming before they can actually get to the point at which they see that, okay, I have to either, you know, do this, or I'm getting ready to get ran over, and my life is going to look really bad in a short period of time. So you've got to identify that, and they've either got to come in at that point, which is always a good thing because they recognize their situation, or through your conversations and questions and creating a vision for them, you've got to move them to an 8, 9, or 10. Otherwise, you don't have a deal. If you have a guy who's 5, 6, or 7, and you write up an agreement and you send it over, don't be surprised if the next thing you do is get ghosted. Because this is not a 5, 6, or 7. It's a guy who has a high level of interest, not a high level of motivation. And there's a difference. And I see a lot of people, you know, they'll jump on deals that are, you know, 5, 6, and 7 because the guy says send me over an agreement or something like that. And I don't say don't send over the agreement, send it. But understand that that's not the guy who you're gonna probably close with.
Yeah.
Right? That's not that guy. You're gonna need somebody who is gonna be 8, 9, or 10 for you to do a deal. So how do we do that? In our conversation, we always set an agenda. We let them know exactly what this conversation is going to be about, and we give them permission to fire us if it's not something that works for them. The idea is that you've got 3 minutes to qualify, disqualify this prospect. Why 3 minutes? Well, you've got to protect your mental state. If you start having a whole bunch of conversations with people who keep you on the phone for longer than 3 minutes and they're clearly not qualified to be in this, then you're wasting your time, or you're fooling yourself believing that you are actually making progress and you're not. That's why we have the 3-minute rule, basically, is so that you can identify a prospect as a prospect or as a suspect and be off the phone onto your next one. And you must fire an unqualified prospect. And there'll be a whole lot of people. You talk to some grandmas, they will keep your ass on the phone for an hour. And they will be a 5. You've got to avoid that, because I fall into that, because I like talking. I'm a nice guy, and I'll be like, there.
Preach, my brother, preach.
You know what I'm saying? And you will not make any money like that. So that's something that I had to actually work my way out of.
Yeah, chopping them gums.
I'm sorry. You guys talked over. Philip, did you have something?
I say you yapping them gums.
Yep, exactly. Who else?
I said they'll talk you to death over and over. The conversation be good, but okay, let's sign the contract.
Exactly. The conversation will be great. You'll even fall in love with some of them, because you'll talk to some, especially some of the older folks. You'll fall in love with them. They're fantastic people, but they're not what you're on the phone for. So that's the.
They ain't give me no money. Ain't give no money.
You're in it for the money. So the conversational sections, if we were to section this off, is set the agenda. You have your qualification questions, and then you have your closing. So in setting the agenda, you create a roadmap. Look, I'd like to ask you some questions. You ask me some questions. If it's a match, then we can move forward. If not, you have permission to fire me. Is it okay that I ask you some questions? That's basically the whole agenda. Notice I covered all 3 parts of this right here. Okay, and your qualifying questions are, the most important one is why. Kind of like the conversation I was having with Jose, is identifying why. And we do a lot of, Claude calls it being a thespian, where we put them in situations where they're present to the pain of what it would be like not to do this deal. And that's a skill set. That's part of why we do the role plays, that you want to improve yourself in your ability to kind of paint that picture, because oftentimes they won't do it for themselves. They'll kind of live in fairyland if at all possible. And sometimes it's, until it's too late. You obviously want to talk about the money. Get the money situation, and that's probably going to be your longest conversation, or longest part of the conversation, because if you don't get that tight, that will derail your whole entire process at the end. So you want to make sure, how much do they need right now? One of my absolute favorite questions, and you guys are welcome to write this down. One of my absolute favorite questions is this: if I was to walk up to you right now with a bag of money, what would be the absolute best price you could give me? I'd pay all the closing costs. You'd basically be able to walk away with everything that's in the bag. What is that number? And oftentimes they'll give you a number, because it's like, well, and I might, say something like, well, always consider, though, if you did it any other way, there would be a number of costs associated with it that wouldn't go into your pocket anyway. So, I'm definitely looking for that discount. And I'm also looking for something that relates to the speed at which I can get this done for you. So what's your best price you can give me? Right? Not necessarily said, but implied. All right. The other question that I have, especially when somebody says, I need cash or something, right? What are you trying to accomplish? Well, I need to move. What is the dollar amount that would allow that to happen? I know right now you think in your mind that you need full cash for everything, but there's actually a number that would allow you to move forward in your dream, your goal, whatever it is. What is that number? And they'll tell you, so well, I need at least 20,000. Understand that at 20,000, now you can create a deal that you couldn't create at 150,000 when they were talking about how much they wanted for their house, right? So there's that. Timing, how soon do you need to do this? Obviously, if they have to do this in the next 30 days, you're closer to a deal than a guy who has 6 months, to a guy who has a year. You know, that guy doesn't have any real reason. He's going to be that guy who says, send me over your offer, and then he's going to, you know, park it next to, you know, everybody else's offer, and he's going to play the, you know, I'm the big dog type scenario. That's also not your guy. Again, we're real estate investors. We're looking for particular deals. And then obviously you have to get their commitment, which is, you know, if I get this over to you right now today, can we go ahead and do business today? There's nothing worse, and you know, there's another conversation to be had about follow-up, but our goal is to try to get a commitment today. Because if you lived your whole real estate career on follow-up, you're going to find yourself, because follow-ups, they fall out, you know, you don't do what you need, stuff comes up, life fills in, you don't do the follow-up like it needs to be, and next thing you know, that deal is gone. So for you to sustain, you need commitments, and you need them today as quickly and as many as possible. So, and then we go to our closing. The closing is, let's recap what we talked about, okay? You know, Mr. Sutter, you said that, you know, you needed $20,000, that, you know, you are more than willing to carry back the difference for me. Then, you know, we're going to do XXX. Is that correct? Okay, great. Now, do you have any other questions for me? Great. So what we have is this, and this. I'm going to put this in writing and get this over to you right now. And if I do, can I reconvene? Can I follow up with you at 4 o'clock this evening? Well, 4 o'clock is not good. Okay, well, then, you know, what's the absolute earliest date that we can get this done? Because, you know, I need to buy a house, and I have some other deals that I'm looking at. So, you know, I need to make a decision. That will tell you their real commitment level. They're like, you know, I don't want to lose this deal. So now you confirm. So those are just little things that you learn through the guts process that allows you to, you know, move these things to conclusion. So with that said, let me stop this. All right. We have some new people in the room that I haven't seen before. Vanessa, welcome. Let's see, who else? Who else do I see that I don't remember? Hi, Alus. Alus snuck in on us. If I missed your name, I apologize, but you know, thank you very much for being here. Now, does anybody have any situations that came up this week that they like to role play, that they were challenged by, or they didn't know how to answer something? Let's role play some stuff. Don't be shy. There's a whole bunch of you in the room. I can't imagine that none of you want to play the game.
Hey, Victor. This is Jamario. Hey,
Jamario Price, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm good.
Good.
I just had a seller. Well, his parents died in the property. Well, they died, and he probated the property or whatever.
Okay.
So I went to actually view the property or whatever, and the same situation you said you just went over about sending over the agreement, and you know him not being ready. I didn't quite go deep enough
Yeah.
to actually diagnose the problem. But I ended up sending the agreement out, and it took him 2 days to even respond back to me. So like he said, he ghosted me. And then when I reached back out to him, like he finally got back with me, and he was like, asked me a few questions. It was all over text, really. After the initial appointment to view the property, it was over text. He wouldn't pick up the phone for me, but he would text me back, and so we was in conversation, and he actually told me to send it. So I sent it. I resent it. Because with Sign Now, you can send it out and then uninvite everybody, and then you can resend it or whatever.
Yes.
So I sent it out again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he said he said he did say he had a higher offer than what I had.
Okay.
But in the midst of this conversation the last conversation we were having, he was asking, "Hey, is there any way you could maybe give me like 5%? Because I was gonna do this as a wholesale deal." So he was like, "Is there any way you can give me 5% up front? And then, maybe do the different." I said, I'm really not comfortable with that, being that I don't know if you actually went through probate or whatever. So, that's not typically how we work. I can get you a fast closing to make sure that we can do it in 14 to 21 days.
Yeah,
but I can't give you cash up. That's just without going through the process. That don't, that I wouldn't be a smart investor if I did that.
Okay.
So, that's what I was thinking. And so he texted me back the next day because he was like, "Okay, what I'll do is 12:30 tomorrow. I'll call you and then we'll get ready to sign it." So that was Sunday night. So Monday we were supposed to have a conversation at 12:30. He ended up texting me like 12:02. And saying, "Hey, the other guys came through with the money, and that's what I was asking you. Could you do it?" And you was like, you couldn't do it. So I'm sorry. If anything changes, I'll let you know. So, so how would you handle that? I don't necessarily have a role play question. I got a question more so of how would you handle that situation? Because I heard you say that if he wanted 20,000. Then we could have did a, carryback. So can you explain more? How would you structure that?
Well, here's the part about what you said. I don't know if you did anything, if you could have done anything different, because he obviously had in his mind that he wanted to get some cash up front. I think you were smart in protecting yourself because you're talking about a probate situation that evidently you didn't have enough information on to really understand where this guy was sitting. I do the same thing if I'm uncomfortable in terms of the fact that I may end up in a hornet's nest because this guy is trying to skirt the process, because there's a process to the whole probate thing.
Right.
So because somebody else came along and they may not have been as savvy as you are in terms of protecting yourself and protecting your money, they might now be in a situation.
Okay. Because when on PropStream, his name, I know PropStream is not totally up to date, but I know in my county the courts are open, but I don't know if during probate they would change his name on the county on the records on PropStream. I'm not sure, but I just wasn't willing to risk even $1,000 to give him to lose if he's not actually been through the probate process.
Right.
I would say that was a brilliant business decision, and that's exactly what I would have done. I don't think you did anything wrong, because that was wrought with landmines.
Okay. Yeah.
I just had a similar issue with a sale, and I gave the guy an offer, and instead of countering me, he basically said, "Well, I have other people interested." I'm like, "Well, go sell it to them."
Right.
And I basically was like 10, 9, 8, because I knew he was going to call. I knew he was going to call me back, because I knew that I know the circumstance. This is a kind of crop property in a situation that, like, okay, bro, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can only do this deal under these circumstances. I know what
Right.
my circumstances are. If
Right.
if the circumstances aren't that, this is not a deal for me.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know,
and
I'm not going to just do a deal just because I'm starving to go do a deal. Next thing you know, I'm not only out of money, but you know, I'm in a legal situation or something. So I think you did exactly the right thing. I think you did everything that you needed to do in terms of that. And at some point, your antenna went up, and you're like, no.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Appreciate
so
it.
that's just, and it happens. You know, that's just one that at some point you have to just make a command decision and walk.
Yeah, yeah,
You
and
know,
you know the once I think if I earlier in my career, I probably would have tried to work with like keep calling him in contact, but now since that abundant mindset shift, I just, hey man, if that's what you want to do, okay, you know, that sounds good. And I sent him a message saying, hey, glad it worked out for you. I hope you get everything you need. And you know, God bless. And that's how I ended it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not, you know what I mean? So thank you.
And he may in fact come back, because a lot of times, like this guy that I'm referring to, he got a you know, close in 10 days, you know, type of offer, right? And all I could think to myself was, okay, yeah, you got a new wholesaler that just got out of, you know, basic training, and he sent you a close in 10 days deal, not realizing that he would be an idiot to close this in 10 days, because with COVID and with everything else, you know, the escrow companies, the title companies, you know, with their people working from home a lot, not being able to get a contractor out there to take a look at everything that needs to be done. No way in hell am I going to give myself 10 days. Right? Because because ideally you have other deals that you're working on. You have other stuff. There's only 24 hours in a day, and there's only so much of that time that's daylight.
Yep.
Right. So don't you know, get yourself into a corner and promise something that you absolutely cannot deliver, or to deliver it would be to your detriment.
Right. Sounds good. Appreciate it.
So yeah, absolutely. I think you were right on track. You did the right thing. He may still come back to you once all of this is done. But especially you guys, if you're in a legal, you know, spider web of things, you make sure that you see your way absolutely clear before you move forward with that, because that could derail everything, and you can find yourself in litigation or some other nonsense. And you know, unless you're making, you know, $3.5 million on the deal, or some ridiculous number, that's probably a little high, but some ridiculous number, it's not worth it. On to the next deal. Yeah.
Victor.
All right, great. Thank you for sharing that. What's going on, Brett?
Hey, good to talk to you. I appreciate that, Jamario. To follow up, I'm brand new to the game, so thank you for all your wisdom. Question: I'm used to working leads to the ham bone. Like I'll work it, and what I just witnessed here is a different mindset in this game. So I'm in Orlando, Florida, and it's blowing up. I mean, we're doing awesome. So I have to switch my mindset on the initial 3-minute conversation to find out if it's worth my time. How would you, I know I came in late. I thought this started, it said 12 Central on my email, so I apologize. How would you come into the conversation? Because you never want to be adversarial, because nobody will win. You don't want to argue. Is that where the CMA comes in as like evidence of proof that they don't get the price they want?
Well, the first question is, how did you come about that price? Did you just recently pay being the operative word, did you recently pay for an appraisal?
Okay, good question.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, you know, I got those numbers from my realtor. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And oftentimes a realtor will project because he sees the market moving in another direction. But let's see if we can find out exactly, what makes sense on the price of this property. Now I have some comparable sales in the area that maybe I can go over with you. Is that something we can do or maybe not?
Love it. Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Any questions? Any role play scenarios? Anything that you guys want to do?
Yeah, I got a question real quick. So for when you're taught, this is not about, well, in a mentor situation where you have somebody that says you qualify them, do you have money up front, what kind of cash you have, and then you're talking through, give your presentation and so forth, and then they're, let's move forward today, and then they say, well, I got to see how much money I have, blah blah blah. How do you overcome that one? What's a good way to?
When you okay, so I may have lost a little bit of the conversation. Now, who has this money? Them or you?
They do. I'm
Okay.
selling something. So
you're
selling a mentorship thing. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Do you have cash up right now? If I can help you and answer all your questions, can we do some business today? Yes, we can. Great. Okay. So then 45 minutes later, after the sales pitch, blah blah blah, waste a bunch of time. Okay, here's the cost. I don't have that kind of money right now. I got to check my budget. Blah blah blah.
Okay. So would you consider? And I've actually had to do this myself. Would you consider moving the money conversation? And this is something that Claude pointed out recently in one of his trainings. Move the money conversation to the front.
Okay. And how would you go about doing that?
Start there. Okay. Great. I understand that you want to get some training and you want to get yourself up to speed with what it is that we're doing. Let me ask you, what are you ready to invest in your future?
Right. Okay. What are you ready to? Okay. That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Are you able to make that investment today?
Yeah. Well, what about how much do I need?
Because if you're not, I'll send you some information. I'll send you a link to my page or whatever. I'll send you some information, and I would be more than happy to talk to you when this actually makes sense for you.
Yeah. Well, how much money do I need?
Well, let me ask you this: how much money is it worth to you?
Okay. All right. I'm writing this down, man. We're not. This thing isn't recording, is it?
And we're fine. No, we're absolutely fine. No,
trying
not
to
a problem at all. Yeah, this is not necessarily for just one track. This is about, because trust me, there are conversations that are had that seem like they're off the beaten path that everybody benefits from.
Yeah. So help me out again real fast, Victor. So you said, how much? So how much money do I need? And then you redirected the question. You said, what is it worth to you?
Yeah. How much is it worth to you?
How much?
What do you think it would cost for you to move your life and your business to where you need it to be right now?
Man, all right, that's good.
Or is this just a conversation? Are you just on a fact-finding mission? Because understand that I have other students and I'm very busy, but I can, direct you to some information that answers your question and stuff. And I'll be more than happy to talk to you again when the time is right for you.
Okay. Right.
That's that 3-minute qualifier, right? Right up front. Yeah. If you can't, if they don't have anything and they're just on there to ask you a bunch of questions, then send them to a place or send them an email that answers all of the basic questions that come up, because they're always the same, right?
Yeah.
So Victor, that's when you're basically pushing yourself away from them and saying, hey, it seems like you're not really ready to do something today, but then you make them the offer, but very, very cordially, very politely, you're basically dismissing it for another day to see if there's a possibility, because they're really not ready.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
there could be reasons why they're not willing to make the decision today to
Right.
jump in.
Right.
Many times, as Claude says, it's because of money.
Yeah.
Okay. And but just remember, you can also turn it. Hey, just before I leave, if the issue is money, do you want to? Is there a possibility that maybe I can finance a portion of that for you?
Yeah.
You know, turning around, you want to make sure you pick up that rock, you look underneath several times before you release them and just say dismiss it and move on.
Well, it's not necessarily you're going to dismiss it. The conversation, and I appreciate that. That was great input. The conversation is really about getting immediately to the understanding that there is a commitment required for you to be able to move your business and your life to the next level. Are you ready to make that commitment? They may, in fact, offer, I could probably do it, but I can't do it today. Well, how much can you do today?
Right. And you say that at the very beginning, before you even thought, how much can you do?
How much can you do today? Okay, great. Now that we have that to the side, we can table that. And now I can go on to the rest of, letting you know exactly what's available for you in this relationship.
Okay.
Right.
So you mind if we talk about money, what are you ready to invest in your future so you could get to 40 grand a month or something?
Exactly.
Hey, one thing to add, Victor, I would say that to make sure they go through the agenda first. So, know that there's a back and forth, and then you bring in the money right after the agenda. So it's not something that is going to like hit them like a ton of rocks. I'm gonna ask you some questions, see if we're a fit, and then you slowly bring it in.
Yeah, and my assumption was with Nathan, and part of why I answered the way I did is because my assumption is that at this point, the person has been introduced to them through a particular process. They kind of know a little bit, otherwise they wouldn't be having a coaching conversation with him at this point, right? So you kind of you already kind of know that, and they're now contacting you because through some process they finally got to you. So now you can have this is what's going to happen, and Horace is right. This is what's going to happen. But before that, let's go ahead and get the money out the way. Is that okay with you? Is that something we can do, or maybe not? Yeah. Well, I don't have any money. Well, this is probably not going to be the process for you, because it is going to cost. It is going to be an investment for me to do what I need to do to get you where you want to be.
Right.
Thank you, Horace. Appreciate you all the time, buddy.
Victor.
Yes, sir.
Other quick question, since I did come in late.
Next time you be here on time. You hear me, young man?
Hey, I only went by the email I received. It said 12 Central. I'm in Eastern, so that's 1. So I'm on time. Real quick, is there a way I could get that with the agenda? I was trying to write it all down and it disappeared. Is there a link to it, or so you can continue?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, if you guys are seeing your screen moving around, that's because the Grand Poobah, Mr. Claude Diamond, is jumping on the screen. So I think he wants to share something with us. So hey Claude, how you doing? Oh, I see you got your new backdrop. I see you got your screen all Christmas ready.
Just for today. It'll change. I'm working on new backgrounds, skiing and mountains and snow.
Oh, got it. Did you have something you want to share with us that was?
Let me wish everybody let me be the first guy to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Kwanzaa, and what else did I leave out? I was sitting back listening. I just came in from working my little snowblower on my too long driveway outside. So I was working, but I am listening to you now. I came in.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there, I love listening to you guys role play. Role playing is thank you, Victor. We are not worthy. It is the best way to get confident and relaxed. And the more you practice, when you get on that phone and you get that hard ass guy or girl, or you get that nice person who's trying to pick your brain for free, you're ready. You know, you got the system in place.
Yeah.
You know what questions. Is there anything I can help with today, or any Victor, any questions or anything?
You know, we were talking a little bit in the beginning, and Jose brought this up like a question, and maybe you can shed some light on it. I expounded on it to some degree, but you know, he was asking the question about getting himself, you know, motivated and picking up the, you know, 1,000-pound cactus that is the phone. Give me 1 second. Got some people waiting.
Get that waiting room. I don't know if you guys know, while Victor's moderating and doing this and talking, he has to let people into the room and click buttons and things like that. So,
yeah, so the question really is, and you can shed a light on this. You've been in this game for a long time, and you understand, you know, motivation and what has you get up out of your bed every single day and do what you do. And there's something that you want to accomplish. He's going to get us a graphic or something. Okay. So there's something that drives you every single day. And there was at one point at which you identified that, right? Where you knew that this was going to be your road to get to a particular point, and it still drives you probably to this day. So for those of us who are just starting off in this, and we're having to pick up that 1,000-pound cactus and try to figure out how we're going to, you know, motivate ourselves on a daily basis to get it done, what would be your input for, you know, people just starting out?
well, on a personal level, do you ever live with a woman and 2 kids, and there's not enough money in the checking account to pay the cable bill? That motivates the hell. Well,
no,
that
I
would
have never done that.
Well, that would motivate the hell out of me. Seriously, you know what motivates me? Freedom.
Yeah.
Can I talk about freedom for a minute?
You can.
I love freedom. To some people, you know, you see some of the gurus standing in front of their jet or their fancy cars or something. Freedom to me meant the freedom from worry of money. Just having enough money to pay the bills, to get out of debt, to work from home. Freedom not to work. I had a lot of jobs with a lot of jobs I didn't like, with a lot of bosses I didn't like.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible employee. Okay. I mean, I'm a horrible employee. No one should ever hire me. But I love the freedom to, you know, what's really funny about freedom, when you have your own business, I believe in being a kitchen table millionaire, a solopreneur, well, an entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, the freedom to live at home. And you can, you know, and to know in your mind that you can do whatever you want. You want to take a nap, great. You want to go to the kids' soccer game. You want to sit on your desk and work because you can't sleep. It's 5:30 in the morning. You can do all that. The freedom to make unlimited income because you're so good, you're so superb at sales. That freedom thing, the freedom to live wherever you want, the freedom to never be embarrassed because your credit card was declined on your first blind date with your future wife, because because your credit card was, oh, this won't go through. Oh, hi there. Will you take this one? And can you take this one? Okay. The freedom not to worry about money. Do you ever go to bed? This is subjective. So maybe you guys can identify, maybe not. Do you ever go to bed worrying about money? Get up at 2 a.m. to do you know what, and you're still thinking about money. Getting up in the morning saying, "Oh my God, the rent is due." You know, that kind of stress. I mean, I speak so emphatically about this because I understand it. And the freedom not to worry about money because you have the skill set and you have the drive and you have the hunger. That's what drove me. Sorry, a long-winded answer to a good question. Sorry about.
Absolutely not a long-winded. That's wonderful. You're sharing your screen right now. Were you going to show us something, or you just happen to have hit screen share? Or...
No, it's just my regular background. I have plenty of different backgrounds, though. If you want, you know, we had the turkey background. We had the Halloween background. Here's my favorite play, my sunset in Hawaii, Kauai, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, all kinds of stuff here. If you love to travel, Mount Rushmore is beautiful this time of year.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
That's your face on there?
My face? Oh, yeah.
So what,
Yeah,
was,
On there,
I
Claude.
realized that. Is that your face on there?
was there a point, Claude, where you kind of got in your mind, like me, I have this understanding, I have something right in front of me that reminds me every day that it's mastery before reward. And to get to mastery requires that you put in, and one of the common things that's out there. So we're looking at your screen right now. I don't know if that's what you want us to do.
It's just this is my office. I had this specially built. It was an addition on my house. The other room was my old office, and upstairs are the kids' rooms and everything like that. I wanted to have a bigger, more dedicated office. I got a lot of storage space and shelf. I love to stand up and work on shelves. So I built a wraparound cabinet around this office. Here's the other side there, looks out on the Continental Divide and everything. So, to work in your own, and I've worked on the kitchen table, I've worked in the attic, and to have your own office, and it's comfortable, and a good coffee and clean bathrooms, baby. That's what it's all about. I mean, so go ahead.
I wanted to get back, like I was saying, I have this thing where it is mastery before reward. So, give yourself a break, understand that you're going through a process. And this goes to the question Jose asked earlier. You're going through a process to become skilled and expert at what you do. We have someone we can look at in Claude Diamond, who, created his own system and has obviously put in countless number of hours in order to get to the level at which it's automatic. Like his responses are automatic. We're going to get to that point as long as we put in the time. Now, one of the common things that's out there is it takes 10,000 hours to master something. So if you look at it, you might be an hour 20 or hour 200, but you're still on your way to mastery. Just enjoy the journey called On My Way to Mastery, right? But Claude, in terms of you, how long do you feel like it took you to get to the point at which you really, where it went clunk, where you're like, I got this, this is ingrained, this is who I am, I'm getting ready to go conquer the world with it.
You want me to tell you the truth or just make everyone feel good today?
We're gonna go for truth.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to go for it. There's no magic number. There's no, yes, you got to put in the time. I work on my skill set every day. I practice real world phone calls, training. I love it because it improves my skill set. It's anything you do every day on a consistent basis, you can't help but get better. Let me ask you, Victor, when you kiss a girl today, are you a better kisser today? I'm being very careful. It's a family show than when you kissed Betty Lou when you were 15 years old.
Yeah, much better.
Much better. Okay. Okay. And you guys are reading my mind. You know where I'm going here. Okay. So the thing about it is, what's the best teacher? Experience. Right. Seriously. Go on the phone, make some calls today, tape record yourself, listen, and then do that diagnostic I always talk about. Okay, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Oh, why did I say that? Oh, and if you're constantly analyzing and improving yourself, you're slowly, meticulously going to get better.
Yeah.
You're slowly but surely. But the thing is, if you're going to wait for that magic moment, it's never going to come. It's never going to be the right time. I say go for it today. My personality, this is my analogy. I'm the kind of guy, first time I ever go skydiving, I know I'm going to get up in the plane. I'm going to enjoy the flight up to 20,000 feet or whatever. I'm going to jump out of the plane. I'm going to love the view and the free fall and everything. And then after about 30, 40 seconds, I'm going to go, shit, did I put on a parachute? Okay. So you just got to go for it. Pick up what's the worst that could happen if you kiss a girl on the first date, she'll either kiss you back or slug you. Okay, you got to take that chance. Same thing in phone calls. You got to call these people up. Sir, I heard you have a problem. Is there something I can do to help you today? I've got a lot of good solutions here for you. I even got John and Mary who want to buy your property. You wouldn't want to talk about that. They also have $10,000 to put down. That wouldn't be of interest to you today, would it? Even if I could get you full price? I mean, and they may hang up on you. They may curse you. That's the price you pay for that freedom thing I talked about a few minutes ago. Okay, but don't wait. Just go for it. Okay, I'm what you call, maybe I shouldn't be teaching this part, but I'm what you call the impatient salesperson. I don't want to wait for it to happen. I want to make it happen. I think you've got to be proactive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I want to ask you one more question. I don't want it to be an interview, but you showed up, so we're going to.
I mean, I love this group call. This is a whole different format that you and Justin have invented. It's so fun and relaxed, and everybody's joining in. It's wonderful.
It's so great. It's so great. So the question that came up earlier, also something that you've been stressing quite a bit on your recent trainings is the reluctant buyer. Coming from that place where you literally are creating a conversation where they have to sell you their home.
Yeah. Be a reluctant buyer.
I have been using that, and it is friggin' amazing.
Claude, I'm not sure if I should do this. Go ahead. Role play with me.
Okay.
You be the reluctant guy. Okay.
Okay. Claude, I don't know if this is gonna work for me.
It probably won't.
Yeah. I really need. I really need my money on this. I really need to get the 120,000 on this.
Then listen. Okay, you're a reluctant buyer or seller right now. I'm sorry.
I'm a seller, or are you the
you're
buyer?
A seller. I thought you said reluctant buyer.
Okay, no. I was going to be the seller, and you were going to do.
Okay. Got my roles here. Okay, same thing. Listen. Don't do anything you don't want to do. You want to sell this home for 120, sir?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. And how long you been? And you live in this home, sir? Or it's an investment property, if you don't mind.
It's an investment property.
Oh, how long you had it?
About 10 years.
Keep it another 10. That's a great rental property. You probably made a fortune on that property. Why would you want to get rid of it?
I'm just kind of tired of the whole landlord thing, and with all this COVID and all of the, people aren't, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but, sometimes, they're not paying because, they're in issues. So it's just a pain.
Oh, okay. Why don't you give it to a management company or call up a realtor or something like that then?
Yeah, I didn't think of but management company, they want like 10% or something like that.
They want a lot of money, I think you should. So, I mean, I don't, now off the role play. What am I doing here, ladies and gentlemen? Do I sound like the typical salesperson? Oh no, this is it dices, it slices. This is what we can do. What am I doing? That's the complete opposite. Who watched Opposite George?
Takeaway.
Takeaway.
Exactly.
Who remembers the Opposite George on the Seinfeld video I showed you guys on Monday?
Oh yeah.
Okay. If every natural instinct you have is wrong, do the opposite. Okay. I love that. I love that video where he goes to the pretty girl and says, "Hi, I'm unemployed, I'm bald, and I live with my parents." And she goes, "Real?" Oh, the girl shows an interest in him.
Shows an interest, right? That's awesome.
So what I was doing with you just now, Victor, I was going in the complete. Did I sound like a salesman, the typical guy calling up?
No, you did not.
Why am I doing it? What is this forces you to start giving me information and justifying why you are selling it. I'm trying to find your pain threshold.
Yeah.
Okay, I know already you're just on a 1 through 10, you sound like a 6, maybe a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want your full price. We learned that already. Okay. Yeah. See, you're teaching me how to sell you.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching me. See, what most people do is they get a prospect. Oh, shit, let me tell him everything he doesn't want to know. Throw everything against the wall. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you get into that Q&A for 45 minutes, if you're lucky. And then they say, I'll think about it. Boom. You didn't make any money and you just wasted an hour of your God-given life. Okay. But if you go in the opposite, and this is pure reverse psychology.
Yeah.
With a little bit of scarcity in there and a little social proof sometimes. and you go to the prospect and say, you don't really want to sell this home, do you? This investment, it's bringing in money, man. It's a great home, great neighborhood. You're not sure about this, are you? I mean, why don't you keep it another 4 or 5 years? And then they justify, well, I have to sell it because I'm moving. I need the money. I'm sick of the tenants and toilets. Now you know how to sell them. So now in my mind, I'm forming strategies. I'm saying to myself, okay, this guy doesn't like tenants and toilets and he doesn't want to pay maintenance, management company. Maybe he's a good rent to own candidate. Or maybe he's good for a consultation. Maybe I can make a few $1,000 just consulting with the guy. Or maybe I should make him a cash offer if his motivation is so high. So it's always cash, terms, or consultation. How do I go to the bank when?
Today,
baby. And it's all about just speaking the right way to the prospect. You want to go back in that role play again, and let me see if I can determine how to do a deal with you.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So let me go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Yeah, I mean, I've been dealing with this for a while now, and I'm just kind of, I'm kind of tired, I guess.
I've been the same place myself. I had a friend, same situation. Tenants drove him crazy, did $20,000 worth of damage. He had evictions, all kinds of rent, chasing for the rent. You don't know if you're a bill collector or a maintenance man. I know exactly how you feel. How would you suppose I could solve this problem before Christmas? Could I give you that as a gift today?
Yeah, absolutely. How would you do that?
I can do this in one of 2 or 3 ways, sir. One thing is, I'm an investor. I represent other people who work with me. I can give you all cash for your property and we can close by Christmas. But you may not like this part. I need at least an 18% discount on your property. So instead of 120, I would give you $98,000. I don't think that's 18%, but
yeah. You know what, Claude? I can't take 98. That's just.
What could you live with? How about full price? Yeah, this isn't a free and clear property, is it?
No, I have a small little line of credit for 30,000 on it.
And no first?
No, it is the only loan is a first.
Okay, suppose I gave you full price, paid the closing costs, took over your payments on your HELOC, your home equity line of credit, and we work out where you get money every month on the equity of your property, and we'll give you the rest of your money in 36 months, a balloon. I'll give you your price, I'll pay the closing costs, I'll take over your monthly payments, and we'll give you some money on a note every month, and you're done. You wouldn't want to do a deal. You wouldn't want to do a deal like that today, would you?
Are you saying also that I won't have to do any maintenance, or I won't have to fix toilets or anything like that?
You're done, sir. You can go to your significant other tonight and open up a good bottle of wine and say, honey, I got full price for the property and we're done. It's over. I didn't have to pay a real estate commission. We're going to get a nice check every month for $1,000. We don't have to pay that HELOC on the 30 anymore. We're done, sweetheart. Who's the man? You can go to your wife and say, who's the man?
Yeah, she likes that.
But it's okay to say no to me. I'm just trying to solve your problem here. And I make this offer once, sir. And if you'd like to do business, I'll send you an agreement. We can talk on Zoom or FaceTime at 4:30, and you can still fire me then. But at this point, I make the offer once. Should we move forward or is it over?
Yeah, let's do it, Claude.
What?
Let's do it.
Is that yes?
That's a yes.
Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman. I'll get you the contracts, 4:30 on Zoom, and well, maybe I can meet your lovely bride, and then we can figure out if any questions or anything. And if you still want to say no, it's okay to say no to me. Otherwise, the problem is over, and you're going to have the best Christmas of your life. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Man, what a relief. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. How about a round of applause there? That was a good role play.
Oh my God.
Now, what do we do?
How to kiss your wife better.
What do we do? What do we do with that contract and that HELOC and that full price and what do we do with all that? How do we make money?
Well, we could turn around and sell it.
Yeah, go ahead. Victor, now you sell it to Jose there.
Okay. So Jose, you asked me to give you a call on a deal. I got a deal for you.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Okay, are you in position to make a decision today, Jose, or maybe not?
Well, I don't know. It all depends.
Well,
What are you
depends on what,
offering?
Jose, because I'm ready to sell this deal, and I'm gonna sell it today, and whether or not it's gonna be you, I'm not sure, but you know, if you're ready to move, are you in position to move today? Are you liquid?
I can be liquid, but if the deal is good for me, I
I'm sorry, when
gotta
you say
do
you
the
can,
numbers.
what does it mean you can be? I mean, are you know, do you have the resources or no?
I do have the resources, yes. I've
Okay,
got
got it.
the
Okay, great.
flexibility.
Perfect. Well, I got a great deal for you. I just negotiated a deal with Mr. Diamond, and this is what it looks like. So we're going to come in, and I actually, off the role play, I don't remember all the details of the deal in terms of you know, what you put together. I believe it was $1,000 a month monthly payment. I don't do we negotiate a down payment with the guy?
I didn't offer you any down payment.
No, you didn't
by the
offer
way.
me no down payment or anything, right? You did no down payment. So basically, I have a deal, no down payment. You know, it's $1,000 a month. It's on a property that's worth in excess of 120,000, and you know, it's a full price deal. But you know, at $1,000, the cash flow on it is about $1,600 a month. Is that something you're interested in, or maybe not?
Yeah, I think I could work with that.
Okay.
Can you give me at least another $2,000 deposit on it?
I don't understand that.
Can you swing it? Can you
When
swing
you
at
say-
least a deposit? I was looking for a deposit.
When you say two, well, you're going to be buying the deal. I don't understand what you're talking about when you say deposit. There's no deposit. You're buying a deal, right?
Oh yeah, I'm buying the deal, right?
Okay, yeah. So there's no deposit. This is going to be, you know, cash on the barrelhead. You give me what I'm looking for, and you take over this contract that I've just
Sell it to him for $15,000.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So okay. So you know, I'm looking to move this contract for 20,000. Is that something you can do?
Yes, if you can do it in the next 15 days, is that doable for you?
I can do it right here today. We can get this locked up definitely within the next 15 days.
Okay, then I think we could swing that, Victor.
Okay, so I'll get these documents over to you right now, and then you and I will reconvene once I know that you have them in your hand, and we'll go ahead and you know, transfer funds and do what we need to do. I'm looking forward to it. You're going to be excited about this deal. It's going to be lovely for you.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right.
Let's do it.
That was good. That was good. You know, basically, when you can round of applause. You're right, Alous. You're right.
Okay.
You know, basically, when you can control a property with a contract, with owner financing, with a rent to own, you can now have a piece of paper. It's so much easier to sell a piece of paper than to sell everything else. And you sell that, you can go to somebody and say, I've got a house, you will own it, you can move into it, enjoy it. It'll be your best Christmas present. And I get $15,000, $20,000. I'll finance that for you. You work out that arrangement. And they step into your shoes in the contract. They move into the house. They have to make the payments, but they also have a separate note with you, the assignment fee. Okay. And so now you just made money by finding a deal, locking it up, and remarketing it. That's called arbitrage.
Okay.
Imagine you did this with $1 million property, a $500,000 condo. What is that worth for somebody that you know how to find a deal, you know how to negotiate and lock it up, and then remarket it to a family that needs a home but doesn't qualify right now, but they have some cash.
Yeah.
And you know, or another investor who's looking for a property they can sublet or rent to own, and you give it to them in a nice, neat little package with a bow on top, and you sell it to them for cash or you finance it $1,000. How about $15,000, $1,000 a month for 15 months? Who would like an extra $1,000 a month coming in?
Right. Yeah.
This is what our president wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. This is the art of real estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
This
So,
is fun.
I know you said for 15,000. And so one of my rules, and probably yours as well, is, I never start at my number.
No. I would have taken 10. Frank.
Exactly. If he would have said, look, I can't give you 20,000, but I can give you X whatever. I know what my number is, and if he says yes to 20,000, I was just $5,000 ahead. So just so you guys know, that's an all the time technique. Like, I never start at my number, and you guys shouldn't either.
No. You can always go down, but you can't go back up, right?
Right. Exactly. You can't go back up. Hey, you guys, Claude, thank you so much, man. You are just amazing. The system that you created is just, it's life-changing, and I'm sure you hear that a lot about, and you're always very humble about that, but man, it's done so much for so many people, and it's really provided a way for us to change our lives and put money into our families and do some things like that. So I don't know if we let you know enough how much we appreciate you, but
thank you.
Know for sure that you are a gift.
Thank you. That's really sweet of you.
Absolutely.
I just know that my life changed.
Mm-hmm.
Because where everybody has been right now with the struggling, with the phone is a cactus, the rejection, where everybody has been, believe me, it's not you. We all go through it. I went through it. I call myself the former world's worst salesperson. Okay. I hate it. I would go clean the bathroom before I'd want to make another phone call. I disliked it so much.
Yeah.
But once you master the art and science of persuasion, that's the key here. We all work on all the other stuff.
Yeah.
We all work on all the other things, and they're good too. This is some important things, the CRMs and the marketing and all. That's all good stuff. But the one reason we're all in business is to make money today, and that comes back to your persuasive skill sets.
Yeah.
Getting another human being to say, "Man, I like this guy. I trust this guy. Let's just do this." You make it so emotional that they say yes. In one phone call, believe it or not, you can close people or at least get another appointment in one phone call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that should be the goal, right? To sharpen your skill set to the point at which you're confident going in on one phone call that you can accomplish what you need to accomplish to move you towards that deposit.
Yeah. It's the level of confidence. It's you've got to go out there and say, okay, nobody sits in judgment of me. I sit in judgment of myself. If someone doesn't like me or reject me, okay, that's not who I am. They don't have the right to dictate the course of my life. It just means that I got the wrong person on the wrong day and I didn't have the right tools for them. But the next person could be that person that makes it the best Christmas you've ever had in your life.
Absolutely. Justin put a golden nugget into the YouTube chat. He said, stop letting the phone kill your dreams.
There's someone right now today who has a problem in real estate. We are the doctors of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to approach people like that doctor analogy I always talk about. We have to go where the doctor goes. Why are you here? Where does it hurt? What do you do for a living? The doctor ask questions. Okay, salespeople don't
feel felt found.
I'm sorry.
He said, "Feel felt found." I'm sure you've heard that before. That's
what you did with Victor was feel felt found on the role play.
Yeah. Be the doctor, Brett. I mean, say, gee, Victor, what's the problem here? Where does it hurt?
Yeah.
You sure you want to do this? And that forces him to justify. But now, see, we can turn the prospect. This is the little secret before we go here. You can make the prospect become the salesperson. They'll do all the work. You can sit back and drink coffee and have a ball, take a few notes down, and now you know exactly how to create an emotional aura, how to close them up front. So, Mr. Walker, if we could find a way to sell your property and get your full price, and you and your wife could live happily ever after, you'd never have another eviction. You wouldn't have to deal with tenants and turlets anymore. I don't suppose if you found that solution, you wouldn't be able to take an action today, though, right?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely would.
Really? Okay, boom. So now I did a opposite redirection there. I went negative. He went positive. He justified he made a commitment. Did everybody hear it?
Yeah. And I saw the picture that you drew, that you created. You know, I was in that picture, like, you know, my problems were solved. I didn't have the stress. I was with my wife. I'm proud of myself for making this brilliant decision, you know, and honey, you should reward me because, you know, I'm a brilliant business person and I did this myself.
You see, if we make it emotional enough,
yeah,
if we get into their head and paint that picture of that sizzling steak with the grilled onions on top and that smell, okay, I hope there's no vegans in the audience, you know, and you paint that picture in their mind, you know, you're a persuader now. You are an influencer. You are a person who has changed the whole dynamics of selling. And you're in control. And when you do things like that, you get a lot better conversations.
Yeah.
You get enjoyable, and you get a little bit more motivated, what Jose, I think, was asking, and you close a lot more deals.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll go now. I'm sorry if I took over like I always do, but
yeah, you always say you're sorry, and we're never sorry, just so you know.
You guys are great. Everybody be safe.
Much, Claude.
Take care, everybody. Be good. Love you guys. Mwah.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, what can you say, man? That, you know, that's the grand poobah right there. You know, bringing in the noise right there. Hey guys, we're at the top of the hour. It's been an amazing day. I get so much out of these things, man, and I appreciate every single one of you for showing up and showing out with me every single week. I cannot tell you how invaluable it is, and I hope that you guys are getting value out of these these Wednesday meetings, and that you are able to at least grab a little something that's going to help you move your dreams forward, you know, get your business to the point at which you want it to be, you know, retire in comfort, Jose, you know, and do the things that you want. Okay. So let me just quickly just say thank you to Aaron, Jose, Nathan, Alus, Brett, Galaxy A10, Hervasio, Horace. I know that's Philip on the iPhone, Jeff, Jerry. Hey, Jerry, what's up, buddy? John Alexander, Johnny, Lou, Moises, Rick, Sandra, Suzette, and last but not least, my man Vernon the Shields. Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. We'll be doing it again next Wednesday. You guys are the absolute best, and I'll see you out there, you know, in the landmine field.
Hey, can you send us that slide?
I'm sorry?
Can you send us that slide?
Jose, why don't you're in Claude's group on?
Yes.
Yeah, why don't you just connect with me and I'll send it to you there.
Okay.
On Skype.
Okay.
All right.
Right. Thank you.
Have a great week, you guys. Thanks.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.